Welcome everybody to the Tuesday, April 13th regular meeting of the Bland County School Board. Philip, if you could give the invocation.
Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to come this evening and do the business of our school system. God, Lord, we thank you for all the children, Lord, that you've entrusted us with, Lord God, to educate and, Lord God, to bring up in this world. Lord, they are a precious prize, and Lord God, we are just reminded this evening how precious life is. God, we're thankful, Lord, today for your divine hand of protection upon us, upon our schools, upon all of our staff. Lord, we thank you, God, for your provision. God, now give us wisdom tonight to do your business. And Lord, we do all these things in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first actions to approve minutes. Does anybody have any modifications to any of the minutes? I have some to the September 16th, but what about on the, March 16th? I'm way ahead or way behind here. Anybody have any comments on the March 9th?
None.
Either.
No.
If I could have a motion to approve those.
Make a motion to approve March 9th minutes.
I'll second.
Mr. Butcher.
4.
Mr. Bailey.
4.
Ms. Puckett. 4. Mr. Shepard.
4. On the March 16th minutes on the discussion on the sewer systems at the schools, just wanted to make it clear that the elementary school does not have a septic system, that it's a problem with the sewer lines, and that will be addressed during summer shutdown. So, Lenore, if you could clear that up in the minutes. Okay, with that modification, if I could have an approval or motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Bailey.
4.
Mr. Butcher.
4.
Ms. Puckett. 4. Mr. Shepard.
4. Okay, we'd like to welcome the With Bland Chamber of Commerce.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I'm Brett McClary, and I'm the chairman of the With Bland Chamber of Commerce. And I'm excited to be presenting a resolution. We do it every year since 2002 for Teacher of the Year. But this year, we want to do Teachers of the Year. And so we have a plaque for each school. And I'm going to ask Ms. Karen to read this so it can be in the record. And so she was going to read the resolution.
Good evening.
Good evening.
They chose to let the librarian do the reading.
Yeah.
In recognition of all teachers in Bland County Public Schools, whereas the teachers of Bland County Public Schools provide our students, staff, and the school community with a commitment to instruct and care for the students every day school is in session, and whereas these dedicated professionals go out of their way to make connections and form meaningful relationships with students and staff, and whereas these dedicated professionals, since the closures of schools in March of 2020, have continued to serve the students and the school community by planning, instructing, nurturing, and overcoming all obstacles. And whereas these dedicated professionals work tirelessly to provide meaningful and equitable educational opportunities for our students and families. And whereas these dedicated professionals truly made an impact and provided much needed assistance to our school community in a time of crisis and uncertainty. And whereas these dedicated professionals would not let the closure of schools stop them from doing all they could to be there for their students and families. And whereas the With Bland Chamber of Commerce since 2002 has acclaimed the important role that teachers contribute in the education and development of our youth, and has recognized the teaching profession through the Outstanding Teacher of the Year Award program. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Wytheville with Bland Chamber of Commerce recognizes the teachers of Bland County for their professionalism, compassion, leadership, and dedication to all students, staff, and school community of Bland County Public Schools, and proudly recognize all the teachers of Bland County Public Schools as the 2020-2021 Teachers of the Year. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very
you
much.
all.
Thank you.
Lenore, you want to just give it to the principals?
She wants to keep them for a while.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you
all.
very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate that. Okay, the attendance report. This year's a little unique. We usually, I think every year that I've been on the board, we lost students during the year. This year, we've actually picked up 6 during the year, which is a positive thing. And it's 11 below last year, but it's nice to see that we're gaining students. And we currently have 30 students from out of the district, which also is a positive thing, that people want to bring their children to Bland County.
Yep.
Anybody, any comments on the attendance report? Okay, I'll move on to the financial reports. Give a brief overview. The forecast, the most recent forecast for the current year budget is for us to end the year at 99.87% of the budget. So we're basically, it appears we'll be spending every dime that's in the budget. We've been notified that the third COVID package, which is called ESSER 3, has been awarded. We have the potential to get $965,628.97. That money can be used in the 2022 and 2023 budgets, and in that money, a minimum of 20% must be spent for what they termed learning loss. And that covers a number of issues, but you have to spend a minimum of 20% on learning loss. The current budget is still a work in process. The latest version is $9,716,557, of which the county contribution is $2,688,516. That budget, the state has a requirement to be fully funded that there be a 5% on average increase to the base over the biennium. So between last year and this year, the base will be increased by 5%. And that's how the budget is currently put together. Any comments or questions on where we stand at this point? We need to finalize the budget. We've got some personnel actions that we have to finalize in order to finalize the budget. The first round with the county, we had a $367,484 shortfall. So we've had to go back into the budget and cut a number of things out of the budget to get to where we're at.
The
But
5% increase that's besides the normal step raise.
right, that's strictly base. So if you get a 1% step each year, or on 5 years, most of them, you get 2%, and on 10 years, you get 5% anniversaries. That's in addition to this 5% base increase.
So it's a minimum of 7%, sort of.
Right. Everybody should be getting at least 7%. Some people will be getting more than that. Okay.
And we appreciate the board of supervisors to work with us on our budget and everything that they're doing, because we know that times are tight all the way around, so we will say that tonight as well.
Yeah, I mean, and dealing through all these COVID monies, there's so many requirements on these monies, and there's so many timing issues on these monies. That's really makes it difficult. But we want to make sure that we use every dollar that's offered to us. Okay, moving on. I don't see the director of curriculum here.
She sent to me a report that she was gonna give tonight. Her mother is ill. She's not gonna be able to be here. I will send a copy of this to each of you to look over, okay?
Okay. Okay, moving on to the principals. Mr. Grimm, you had a kickoff today.
I thought you did it last time and Tyler was supposed to do it this time.
Okay, the new Mr. Grimm.
You guys doing all right?
Yes, sir.
Hope everyone had a wonderful Easter and spent some time with some family. We got to, and that was really neat. You take those times for granted, especially with our elderly relatives. So that was something neat. Attendance, we are at 340 total students. I believe that's up 5 from the last time we were here, 4 or 5. Around 60 are still virtual, 63 as I counted this afternoon. So we were in the 70s last time we met. I'd like to think it was from phone calls to kids to get back, but I think the warmer weather, they wanted to get outside and see what the world's like. But regardless, that number has gone down. So we're excited about that. Key events, we administered the third quarter benchmark. We knew going in those numbers would be a little skewed, but we're here to teach and assess. So we went ahead and did those benchmarks. We knew the data would come back a little wonky, but we took that and the teachers create their own remediation schedule in-house. So we're doing that currently, have been for the past week and a half. And most teachers are offering an after-school component at least one day a week for kids that want to come in and get that extra piece. So we're really appreciative about that. Of course, SOLs, Denise and Karen, God love them. They save us. They've put together that SOL schedule. We actually we did work keys about a week or so ago, but we started yesterday with that. We had a little hiccup with the internet this morning, so we couldn't keep the ball rolling, but we'll pick that up Thursday. Some other events going on in the school. Prom, that'll be May 8th, and after prom, of course, that night, we've chose to do after prom here at the school. And Miss Laura Hall was one of the people that are heading that up. And she's got a really neat plan. Miss Bailey and Miss Trail have been organizing the prom. That'll be held at the rail yard upstairs conference room there in West Virginia. So we're getting a lot of kids interested. Some kids haven't paid all their dues, so we hope they can get that together so they can participate in prom. We're excited about offering that to the students, definitely. Sports teams, our fall sports just finished up. Football, volleyball, actually golf was today. Miss Parker's son Luke qualified for regionals. So him and another student and Coach Woods were down in Fairlawn today competing. We didn't get a shot to run out there, but we were cheering them on nonetheless. Volleyball finished the year pretty competitive. Coach Romano's doing a great job with that group, and Coach Blankenship and newly Coach Bradshaw. They made the long trip to Perry McClure, got a little taste of the Pioneer District, about a 2:45, 3-hour bus haul. So we're really thinking about what our next move should be and what that can look like. There's been a lot of discussions since we've brought up our request to being a more comparable district, what it could look like longevity-wise, actually creating a third district. It's so out of whack with the Pioneer having 12 teams and the Mountain Empire having now 6. So hopefully we can put together something that everybody can agree with, and be more geographically reasonable. So that's in the works. It's in the very infant stages. We've still got another year of what we're doing now. So we're just trying to get it moving in the right direction and hopefully make some good moves for the kids and for our community. Ms. Tate, again, and Karen have begun, or actually finished up, registering for next year's classes. Of course, that may change with how we finish, but we're able to put together some new courses using our own teachers that we have already, and looking at some guys that have some endorsements that may be able to help us with some different classes that we really didn't know we could teach. Of course, speaking in person. Plans moving forward. Of course, we want to continue those remediation hours and the after-school component for that. Teachers are appreciative of the dollars that are available for that. That's a nice little bonus, and they're taking advantage of that. We, of course, want to identify the students who are going to need more than one course in summer school. We've got a preliminary list of what we think is fairly certain. We've got some kids on the fence, but those kids that are going to need 2 or 3 different courses to make it, we need to really look at how we're going to put that together and make that one working unit. And of course, prepare the schools for the summer services. We'll have a new kink in our system here with the replacement of the sewer system there at the elementary school, but we've toured Building B, and hopefully that space is adequate to house our elementary students using for summer school. That's still in the planning stages, of course, and we'll put together something that works for everybody and works for Mr. Grimm. Of course, lastly, most importantly, is safety. We're finishing up our required drills that we have to have throughout the year. Fire marshal came by, I think a week or maybe 2 weeks ago. He gave us some areas that we could improve. So we're working with Sharon, or Miss Arnie, and Mr. Melvin to make sure that's not an issue moving forward. Nice guy. He toured me around more than I toured him. Excuse me. I'd like to finish with some kudos. We had some dedicated parents. I think Dreama Hatcher was one of the ones that kind of started that. But we had a lot of donations, a lot of parent commitment, and a lot of outside commitment to a Adopt a Senior program. And our student representatives may touch on that, but that was a huge success. There was a ton of donations and items that were brought for every senior. So each senior got a little goodie bag or swag bag, whatever you'd like to call it. So pretty neat stuff in there. So we're excited about that, and honored that the community would rally behind us like that, which we know they always do. But it's nice when they come through in the clutch. You guys have any questions for me?
How are we doing on the academic side?
We're still right where we're at. I mean, we've got, Tiff and I looked at it today. We've got roughly 70 kids that we know are pretty good candidates. If it were to stop today, yes, sir. If we were to stop today, those kids would be asked to participate in summer school.
How many seniors?
Say it again, sir.
How many seniors?
We've got 11 seniors on that list.
Oh dear.
And those are all at risk of not graduating?
Correct.
How many do you have that's definite?
Definite? I'd have to
Definite
look at it,
which
but it's at least
Definite that they have to come to summer school.
at least 5.
On seniors.
I would say 6,
Yeah.
probably.
Out of the senior group.
Correct.
And out of the rest of the school?
Out of the rest of the school,
Mhm.
65 definites.
Okay.
Big hitter in the 7th and 8th grade.
So they will not be taking part in graduation?
If correct. If they don't pass those courses to graduate,
So we have 65 seniors and we could be down to 54 graduating?
correct.
Good choice.
Well, it's
Or is there a line that most of them are virtual and most of them are not virtual, or is it kind of a mixture?
The ones that are definite not are virtual students,
Okay.
and they've been virtual all year
Okay,
and will not return, even on request.
okay.
Wonder in
Not
past
only
They'll come
years-
to summer school?
say it again, ma'am.
You think they'll come to summer school? Or come back next year and do whatever they have to do?
Well, I mean, I don't think they'll do the latter.
So you
Um,
think basically they're gonna drop out?
I would hope not.
I mean, if you don't
I can't
graduate,
answer
you
for
don't go
them.
to school.
All I can say is what has been happening, and they haven't taken us up on coming back, let alone answered. I'd be
And
willing to say the hundreds of calls that have gone out.
to the parents and stuff.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Not only those, we've had parent-teacher conferences that they just don't.
Wonder in
attend.
past years how these numbers have run. You got any idea, Scott, how many seniors weren't able to go? To
It
walk?
was-
Most times it's like
Sometimes we
one or,
have
It
one or
definitely
two.
wasn't that many, but it's always been a couple.
yeah.
One
And, but most
one
of
or
the time
two or
they-
three, but this is a unique year.
Well, we're not making excuses. for
No,
it.
no,
I'm not
it's-
standing up here saying we're making
You
excuses
just
for it.
wondered. the
I'm
number.
just trying to be clear on what we've got, and
But there is no surprises because the contact to the parents and the kids has been over and over and over and over.
yeah, so
Right.
our final piece is sending out that confirmation, hey, this is where we're at. And, once we really identify what we can do for those students at the summer school level, because I'll be honest, some aren't passing more than, or they are not passing more than one class. Some
Are they allowed to take more than one class in summer school?
we're putting that together, and what that can look like, but
But if it's 3 and 4 classes, then I don't see how you
There's
can
no
do
way,
it.
is there?
You don't have
Unless
to.
they go 24 hours a day.
well, we won't do that, but
No.
we're identifying what that will look like and what we can do for them. If we can do something, we will. I know Mr. Mead and Laura or Miss Radford they do whatever we need for the kids. But there is a line in the sand, and
You can only do so much. so.
They have to
Appreciate what you're
participate.
doing.
Right, yeah, and that's what it is. It's a failure on their part to participate. So, that's what most of this has come down to, so.
unfortunate, but it's reality. And
It's just a big number.
Well, they need to be held responsible for their,
Well, I mean, this
Non-active
is
at the school.
going against, a lot of parents think that, we just need to send them on across the graduation stage and let them graduate. But this is a part of it is about the accumulation of your education is that you have to finish and we have to see the effort, and we're
That's
not
been
seeing
a-
that. So, but with that, on you, Tyler, Mr. Eastep, is we got to continue to reach them. And if we can, great. And if they'll respond. And do our part. We appreciate all of what you all are doing.
that word you used is a word we use daily, finish. And anybody that can see something through understands that and understands what it means. And sometimes it takes a little bump in the road to identify that for yourself. I know it took me a while, so that's where we're at.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
One more thing, on football, what are we looking at, like, for football for next year?
So, that's a good question. We had a district meeting last month. We've got one in a couple weeks, the 22nd, so next week or so. We are looking at playing a non-district schedule only. The thought process behind that is we think we'll have more participation. I hate looking backwards, but knowing what I know now, we probably should have ran a JV unit this year only. With, the reduced season. I don't know what that would have changed. I think we could have changed some things in the win-loss column, but.
Well, the team was young, so.
Right,
Yeah.
and
So-
I mean, yes,
Well,
they
they
were
had very
young,
little
and
chance to
man,
practice.
Right.
it's,
Yeah, no practice. You had a lot
it's,
of youth.
we've had those conversations with Coach Reed, he wears his heart on his sleeve about it. And I had the conversation with the kids, you guys are really building what we're trying to do. And that's a hard pill to swallow because nobody remembers the builders,
Yeah.
But if you don't have them, you don't
They're
have
the ones that
anything.
takes the
So
lumps.
I think we got through to them. It's unfortunate for the seniors, Corey Harden, Blake Buchanan, that group. I'm sure I'm missing a couple that were out there, but that's reality.
Yeah.
And it's where we're at, and we're not shy about it. We understand that seeing Galax, George Wythe, Fort Chisholm on the schedule
Yeah.
is sometimes a deterrent to play. And when I coached, after we got past that 5th game in the schedule and had those MED games, that's when things started. Well, people not showing up, and that Coach Hart, God bless him, he coached every practice just like the first 5 weeks. And it's just hard to get kids to understand what the bigger picture is, it's hard for adults sometimes. But we think, coaching staff reached out to me, and we think as a group that could be our best opportunity to get more kids out. Understanding we'd play.
We've got a meeting tomorrow at 1 o'clock to discuss this.
Right.
And my question was more of, what do we need, is the bleachers, which direction are we good
Much
to
money
go
as
for
you'll
another
give us.
year? Are we gonna have it? I didn't really need all that.
Well, no,
Gosh, Dwayne, you got a lot more.
you
Yeah.
gave the right answer.
You
You
did,
walked right
yeah.
into that.
You did,
Much
but I
money
We
mean-
might
as you
not
give-
ask the right question, but you gave the
Yeah.
right
We have,
answer.
It was more like, I want to know that, if we need to do things to the bleachers, are we gonna have a team?
Right.
Are they gonna be there if we put money?
What Mr. Melvin did with the bleachers right now is in pretty good shape.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
They're,
I mean,
Okay,
it'll
good.
last a year or two.
they need a little paint, but they do the job, and that looks great.
But you have a person here today that actually played football on this team this year. And to me, these group of young men went through a year of building, but they're also heroes because they stuck with it.
Yeah.
And they stuck with their coaches, and their coaches were positive, and I can't say enough about that.
Yeah.
And they kept us on the map, and we hope to build from that.
That's right.
We don't want to back up, and I admire you. Mr. Bright over here played football for us. He might want to add something to that. But
I'm sure he will. He's
I told him out in the hall I thought he was a hero, and I
he's
stand
got
by
the
that.
gift of gab.
You're just
So-
jealous of his hair.
Well, I am. His brother had
Thank
nice
you.
hair too, and I was jealous
Thank
of
you.
both.
Thank you,
of them.
Mr. Easton.
Thank you.
Mr. Graham. How did the notification of parents and all that go today?
For us, very
Yeah.
well. We actually had the buses on site close to, I think Mr. Shelton can speak better about that, but just after 9 o'clock was when I was aware that we had all the transportation available to go. We could have dismissed as early as 9:45, but experience has told me you don't just send home until you know someone's there to intercept a child and supervise. So we made our contacts in about an hour later than sent our first buses, and everyone knew based on our communication who was able to receive that. what time we would be dismissing. And then we did buses first, one wave of buses, and then did parent drop-off, or parent pickup right after that, with the
Okay,
same
so we didn't end
procedure
up
we did in the
with
past.
kids without places to go with all that.
No, and no, everybody was still available if we did have a snafu in that. There were times where we got hold of one family member and the message maybe not got relayed across to the other guardian. And so we were there to intercept and take care of that. So we actually confirmed with every bus driver before we did anything else with our day at that point. So
Okay,
that was actually
super.
probably close to about 12:30 at that point, before we actually had an all clear for all of our students. So.
Were they allowed to go back into school and use restrooms and things?
Certain areas, there were some areas, because they were still cleaning up, that we sent specific individuals back in, especially with our littlest kids. We did that anyway. We had the front hallway, which was deemed pretty much clear. So we were able to use those restrooms, and those students were able to go back to their classrooms. We had some grade groups that weren't comfortable going back in and said, hey, guess what? You have no homework. So, and they'll take care of that. I'm sure we'll get some parent calls tomorrow wanting to come pick some stuff up, which is great. We tried to make sure every student who had a cell phone had that, because my concern is if they're home tomorrow, that way if they needed to get hold of somebody, if they were for a few hours by themselves, they would have that resource available to them. And they're expensive. We don't want to watch those at school. So, but in some cases, yeah, there were some students left backpacks with us at school this evening. So, and we can pick those up tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Thank
appreciate
you for what you did today.
Thanks. It was fun
Right.
for what it is. No, I'm just actually happy, thrilled actually that nobody was hurt.
That's right.
In hindsight, it's really easy to say, oh, no big deal. But as we started debriefing of what was going on to initially collect some data about what it was and how quickly everyone responded to keep their students safe, faculty and staff are phenomenal there. And a massive thank you goes out to our entire school community, because I could take care of everything that was in the building very quickly. Every teacher knew their responsibility, and that's why we run those drills. And then be able to get the information out that we might likely need buses, and for Mr. Sheldon getting down to us and make contingency plans based on what buses were available at that time, and for our parents and community to respond as well as they did. It was great. We saw the sheriff the entire time until every student was off campus, and that was just reassuring for us, even though we didn't really need him, but it was great to have him there.
Yes.
I mean, so I love that support. That was great. So we do appreciate that as well. So yeah, there we go.
Okay.
I'm not tired at all. So our enrollment is currently still standing at 335, so that's no change from this time last month. There are two documents attached for you there. The first one being the historical performance by grade level. What I've provided to you is our M3, or third marking period, grade distribution by grade level compared to third 9 weeks of 2020 versus third 9 weeks of 2021, which would have been the last grading period that we actually had legitimized standardized grades for last year. You can see there is an overall difference between the two. Actually, it's the orange piece that represents this year. The what is supposed to be blue piece would actually represent last year. So the trends are the same, but the numbers are different. We are seeing a little bit of, substantial number of Fs compared to last year, and that does relate to students who are not getting the work completed. Fewer of those students are virtual than they were in years or months past, because we have been able to recruit them back in. But you can't just show up on a Tuesday all of a sudden and you're now there 4 days a week, and for those grades to automatically correct themselves.
How many kids do you have virtual now?
Currently, we are standing at 62 virtual students as of today, and that is 18.5% of our student body. So there's substantial, about 150 difference in A's between the two. Now, we don't exactly have the same size of grade levels or the same enrollment as we did in the years previous. So you kind of have to take that with a grain of salt there. I didn't do percentages or ratios. I gave you straight numbers. But below, you can actually see how those numbers compare from one year to the next. And then the next page, sorry, go ahead.
If I'm reading this correctly, it appears first grade and sixth grade are the two that are having
With
the most
more,
problems.
yeah.
Challenges. We call those challenges.
And I can explain that.
Okay.
I mean, it's different kids. Last year's math class was
That's
phenomenal.
very true.
I mean, we had kids who were testing on 10th and 11th grade level, and they moved on to 7th grade. So this class is not as strong in math, and so the grades would have dropped regardless of the pandemic.
So and probably the best way to compare those numbers would be, had I been able to provide them for you offset. So let me see if I can describe that a better way.
So let's just say this 29 on the 6th grade for the 29 Fs, it would actually correlate if you went to the 5th grade for 2020, right?
Correct.
Okay. So you would drop back on 2020, you would actually drop back a year if you're looking at the same kids.
So how many are you looking at having in summer school?
Yeah, we are setting aside about 10 slots per grade level, which is about the upper tier for some levels. I do believe, like basically, believe it or not, in 5th and 6th grade, even though you're seeing a significant number of Fs there, that does not necessarily say that there are 29 students. One student could represent 4 or more subject
Right.
areas: language arts, reading, and then the other cores. So it's 29 is not a number of students, it is a number of grades.
Grades, right.
With 5 grades being collected, we did not do, and I pulled all of the specials grades out of these numbers for us. So even when you see something like 8, it's probably 3 students in realization who are having more of a challenge there.
Right.
For like 2nd grade. And those students, we have provided communication. There were 2 letters that we sent home depending on what our concern level was. We had those that we recommended for summer school, like, hey, you're passing, you're likely to pass. We recommend you show up anyway because we'd like to be able to provide some additional services this summer, really to slow down that regression that typically takes place during the summer months.
Right.
Sent an additional letter home, or another letter in some cases for some families and students that said, we are going to likely mandate summer school, and if summer school cannot to attend, we would look at retention for that coming school year. I'm not always a big fan of retention, but in this case, we need to make sure the students have the skills in place to move forward. All of those discussions are a student-by-student discussion. It's not a sweeping, okay, here's the rule, you're staying back a year. We have some parents who are in favor of retaining their child because they just don't feel it's been the best year for them. And I play devil's advocate with that kind of conversation sometimes, just so they understand the full scope of what is taking place. But I completely honor those and understand what's going on. And we try to put as many services in place while we have the student with us so that we can continue to build that growth. We don't just say, going to be retained, let's just move on to another student. No, that's not how it works. So we continue to work with the students and the families so that the student can show growth. Second page we've got is our attendance trend. You'll notice it's kind of continuing to trend down, but still above where it was years past. We actually, in the last 3 weeks, had 2 days with 100% attendance.
Cool.
So that was kind of shocking because you never see that. I
Right.
mean, it's just really something that never happens. So we've had, but when I average them out for the week, it brings it lower. So you can see coming across that we're still trending well above 95% average daily attendance for each week. So that's actually a very good thing. Continued items, key events coming up for us. Midterms actually go home next Thursday, the 22nd for us. That means we're halfway through the last 9 weeks, believe it or not. School year is coming to a close. SOL testing for the elementary school begins April 29th. We will actually start with civics, good heavens. Virginia Studies and science test, 5th grade science test on that day. We're able to provide some balance on that because we've had a significant number of students in certain grade levels opt out of the SOL tests or refuse it due to COVID reasons. PALS testing will begin for us as early as April 19th. STARS testing is April 15th of this week through May 31st. With kindergarten registration, we had 35 students sign up, which I expected about 2/3 of our entire enrollment. So if that's the case, we're doing really well with the number of students.
Yeah.
We're continuing, and you might see our sign that says, hey, if you have a child that will be 5 by fall, give us a call. So I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but that was awesome, wasn't it?
New slogan there.
I need to change the sign. Wow. I'm so good at this. All right, anyway. Because we really would like to have an opportunity to sit down with the child. We do an interview style piece with one of the kindergarten teachers to go through some PALS assessments for where they should be at this point in their life, not where they should be in the kindergarten year. And so we can kind of keep some of the skill abilities leveled out through, you're not helping. Leveled out throughout our courses so that I'm moving on then. Preschool, we screened 7 students. Just because we screen a student doesn't necessarily mean we can reserve a spot for them, but we had a pretty significant interest in our preschool program, keeping in mind that some of the students currently enrolled in preschool will remain in there next year as well too. So I believe we'll be able to easily fill all 14 slots next year, which is pretty exciting. With the Bland Ministry Center and Elgin Dental, we were supposed to have our first day of appointments for follow-ups based upon the pre-screening today. Kind of got canceled. They were planning to come back Thursday anyway, so we'll do our first day then. I think we have 16 to 17 students who initially are interested in doing that. So Ms. Waters will work with those students on Thursday, which we're pretty excited about as well. Kids Heart Challenge with the American Heart Association. On a very strange year, we were able to raise $1,220.57, which is phenomenal, which really got the recognition from American Heart Association. So Patty did a great job. Ms. Hankins did a great job with that this year. We really appreciated that. And we hope to kick off a Pennies for Patients campaign here soon with Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. We have a Head Start visitation on May 5th. That's a Wednesday, so we can bring those students in and get them a little acquainted with the building prior to kindergarten camp this summer. Moving forward, we continue to build our watch lists and talk within each grade level about which students we really need to be paying attention to more so than just the regular Tier 1 for remediation needs. And we continue to ways to look at celebrating our student successes this year without the ability to have things like kindergarten graduation or even awards assemblies. How can we go forward to celebrate the students with the success they've had? And so we're trying to think of some ways to do that. And summer needs, obviously Tyler spoke about summer school. We still need to get that information out to community as a large, but I think we have a little bit of time for that. But yeah, we will be in Building B, so our students will be separated from your students up there. And you've got better playgrounds anyway, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. You won't be able to do kindergarten graduation, or
what?
Did you say you wouldn't be able to, or?
So we still have caps on the number of people we can bring in to the building.
To the building, okay. You know, they increased the number that you can have for indoor-outdoor graduations, right? And I know that means seniors, but I don't know if it says seniors or whatever.
It says graduation and diploma inferred ceremonies.
Okay, so I wasn't sure if that included
which makes it really hard for us because we don't give a diploma for kindergarten.
You should give them a diploma.
I know, I totally agree with that.
I mean, really.
Especially preschool.
I know.
Gotta be potty trained. Yeah. I'm done. Yeah, I can try. So yeah, and even just concerts.
Yeah.
I mean, we would love, like, it's elementary school. We need to have a concert once every 2 months at least. And it doesn't feel the same right now. And so we've been brainstorming specifically with our 6th graders. What can we do? Because they need to know that we're saying bon voyage to them, but also we need to celebrate. What?
We're trying to come up with something that rhymes. Just give us a
No, I better not.
Not
I'll
much
get in
rhymes
trouble.
with Grim.
Yeah, I know. It's been a day. My filter's gone. What can I do? And I've already thanked everybody for their assistance today. I mean, even so much so our parents as well too, for the understanding of what we were trying to deal with and being patient as we got messages out. So I very much appreciate that. And so everybody was safe. Nobody got hurt. Everybody followed directions, and I think the only person that cried was Miss Blessing. So it was pretty good.
That's good.
So, all right.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Graham.
Do we have any public comment? Because it's, okay. It was time for that.
Yeah. None?
Ms. Tate? And we expect something that rhymes.
Yes.
I barely communicate anymore. Just a few things. I have my 2 IT people, one at each school. They've been working together. Jonathan came in last week. So he and Michael have been kind of working together at the high school. And I don't have a stack of Chromebooks anymore. They're pretty well down. I think we got 2 today. We got a message that we had 2 keyboards, so we're down to 2. We were probably 50 at each school. So, but that's a good thing. They've really jumped on that and done a lot with that. I've also been working in the labs with them. They've really done a good job, both of them, getting our labs ready for testing, because as Tyler said, I've been working with Karen to get her on board with testing and getting the schedule and all that set up. So it's been easier. I just looked at both of them and said, you're on your own for a while, so figure it out. I worked to get the sign up the other day at the high school. Drove in the parking lot. It's sure definitely not saying what I posted out there. I did tell Tyler, though, that it's up. It's not saying whatever it was saying before. Yeah, that's not on there anymore. So that's gone. So I'm working to get that to say what I want it to say.
So what's the issue there? Just the
Well, they updated some software, and I don't get that email. So Mike got the email, but he kept letting it go.
Oh, man.
Did you feel that?
Run him over.
Yeah, his is working. But anyway, once we got Mike's up, I figured out when I had to call support, and there was a software update, and we had to create slides before the update could even be. Well, I couldn't even get logged in to do a slide, but I got the slides updated, called them, and asked them, okay, I'm ready for you to post my slides. But when I got over there the other day, the slides I created are not what's on there. So I've got to work with that too. And as Tyler and Mike both have said, we're ready to go for testing. So that's what the next month will be. So, yeah. Any questions?
Nope. Nope, thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Radford?
I'm going to take this off so you can hear me. I have just one update for now. I do have 2 things that are action items tonight. I don't know if you want me to talk now or later, or, but we have the annual plan for SPED and the annual plan.
We'll talk about that when we get
You want to wait till we get
yeah.
there? Okay. So the only other thing that I really had was just a quick update about STEM. We are up to 72 students participating, which is really good. We're on week 5 of 9. So we will wrap that up on May 13th. I'm up there in the evenings, and everyone is really having a good time. I think it's going great. And so that was the only update I had for you other than the plans. Okay, anything
Okay,
for me?
and you're going to be able to work this out during the summer with the fact that the elementary school will be in construction mode?
Yes, I'm going to have a planning meeting for summer here in the next couple of weeks, and we'll sit down and get started on what that's going to look like for us. We're looking at probably the last 2 weeks of July. 1 week is when we do training and the students take the class through WCC, and then the next week is when we actually have our camp. So yes, we're going to get started with that here in just a couple of weeks. So,
Okay, thank you.
okay.
Okay, Superintendent, Mr. Mead?
I think Mr. Grimm might be a rapper someday. We see him on the circuit. I mean, he can rhyme, so that's all you got to do to rap.
yeah.
So,
Rhyme and grime. Grim.
G-Lo or something like that.
Rap Master G. It's Rap Master G.
Easter break was good. Anytime you have time to spend with your family and sharpen the saw a little bit, it has its benefits, and I hope everybody enjoyed theirs. I got a request from the health department, Karen Shelton. They're seeing more COVID cases with students now, up to about 28%, I think is what she said, compared to like 10% 2 months ago. What they're willing to offer us is to give vaccines to students 16 to 18 years old. The health department would come in and do those. If there's any objection to that, I need to hear about it now, but obviously there have to be parent permission But we can't offer that to the 16 to 18. So, Tyler, you got a problem with that, or? They would come in and do all the work. All you have to do is give them a place.
Well, that's right. It is during that soil testing window. We may have to look at doing it. Well, if Denise says it. Okay, we're good, sir.
I don't know what you said, but as long as you said it's good, that's
Okay.
I'm fine with that. Tyler talked a little bit about this. I don't know if you call it fall sports is over, or winter sports is over, or spring sports is over, but I thought we had a pretty good whatever season it was that's over now. Volleyball, football, and cross country, right?
Well, cross country was, they've still got a race, but yes, it's in conclusion, and golf as well.
Okay, so
It's starting to rain, so I think baseball's next then.
baseball and softball.
That's
we
usually what happens when it rains. So.
Well, we've got a gang of kids down there every evening, and I'm really happy to see that. I'm working with a young man, and he is offering a program. It's called Lucid, and it's a very promising program. You teachers, I think, will love it. Laura can speak to it as well. We had a conference with them. One thing is, one piece of Lucid is called Lucid Press. And that'll help us out tremendously with documents that we send from here, documents you send from your school. They're very colorful, they're very pretty, but it's basically set up for the person-to-person classroom instruction. So we get away from the virtual, and the virtual goes to Virtual Academy. This is another piece. It's very inexpensive, but I really liked it. Laura, you want to comment on it?
We participated in a webinar yesterday on Lucid, and it is program. There are several counties around us who are using it now as well. And it will be something that it's another tool for our teachers to have in their toolbox to work with their Chromebooks to help students be more engaged in their learning. It was a very good program, I thought. And so it's something that they can add to their lessons on the Chromebooks, because I feel like, we're going to see more and more of that now with using our Chromebooks because of COVID. So this is something that our in-house teachers are going to be able to use.
It's like every kid has their own whiteboard, and it cuts down on a lot of, I just put cheating and those type of things, and it makes kids be more accountable for the work they're doing. We will have probably some professional development for our teachers. Yeah, there's 3 trainings, but I think you're really going to be happy with it. I think the kicker for me, I said, Laura, would you love to have had this in your classroom? She said, absolutely.
It's very, it uses a lot of graphic organizers, things where they click and drag and move things, a lot of where you can poll kids to get responses for things. I would have loved it. I taught with an interactive notebook, and we did a lot of this type of taking notes and things like that. It has a lot of possibilities. So I think the teachers will really like it.
And it's going to be good for us here at the central office too. The one license covers everyone.
And we get the rest of this year for free, and then we pay for next year. So that allows the teachers more time to use it, practice with it this summer, have the PD, and then be ready to go with it in the fall.
Ms. Blessings, you got any questions? All right. Just take my hat off to teachers and administrators. Everyone's pretty tired right now and needs a small break. We'll have a big push here towards the end. Like you say, what do we have? 20-some days left of school. Unbelievable how this year's gone by. This past week, I had a call from county administrator. It was about 12 o'clock at night, and he was in dire need of help. We had to evacuate the nursing home here I don't know if a lot of you all knew that or not, but they had a bomb threat at the nursing home. And by working with Dr. Workman and myself and Mr. Cagle, we were able to clear this board office and the boardroom out so we could get ready to move those patients in here. It was close for us. It was very, it was a touch and go. I don't think many patients made it here, but we were ready. And in the future, we'll even be more ready. But we did that all in like 30 minutes time. And so it was, a lot of people rolled up their sleeves, but we were able to help those folks. And I take my hat off to the working relationship I have with the county and how we got that done. You alluded to this, but we are seeking teachers out to offer more electives next year. That's always been a concern of you guys. When are we going to offer more electives? When are we going to offer more electives? Well, we figured out that we have our own folks that can teach the electives. You know, we're going to have to pay them, but they deserve it, but they're going to be able to offer some more electives for our kids. And if you go around that building and talk to folks, you'll see. The short period of time I was out there with Tyler, I was shocked at how many electives we could offer from our own people. And we don't have to bring anybody. We got good teachers, and they can teach the things that our kids need.
Well, that's the stuff we talked for years, and it just seems like the electives just kept dwindling away. So we've wanted the electives, and it just kept disappearing. So. Well,
this will be a year. We'll see how it goes. And for our teachers there, again, that means an added class, but we'll be adding some pay to them too. So it's, I mean, I just think about the teachers that are out there, like, let's say Miss Sexton, for instance. She can teach nearly any kind of science, astronomy, and all this stuff. And it's, why not we offer these things? So I'm very happy to be able to do that. I don't know if you all saw the Bluefield Telegraph here, was it last weekend? That Mr. Sloop was in there, and he looked really good. I don't know if they photoshopped his picture or what that was. But he had a big picture there on the lifestyle page and a very nice article, and just another great thing that Charlie has done for us in this county. And Charlie, congratulations. I take through the day, you got to realize these bus drivers are pretty good. They may not like to come back to school, but when you call them, they're there, and they'll come back and they'll take care of your kids, and I was proud of them as well as your staff. And the only other thing I'd like for Kelly to present to the board what's going on with the cafeteria right now and this program. What it boils down to is when the pandemic hit, the state said, okay, you feed all the kids and we're going to cover it, you know. Well, we're back now to going into the next school year, and that's not going to happen anymore. So we got to go back to the way it was. But the state is saying, no, operating needs to pick it up. And that's a lot of money for us. Kelly, would you like to add to that?
I don't want to go in great detail because there is a possibility that we won't be if our waiver comes through.
So we're applying for a waiver? Or?
It won't be available till May.
Okay.
It'll come out in a superintendent memo April 30th. So we won't know the details of what the waiver entails. I do know that it will be have an Excel spreadsheet of all for us to enter all the finances of the school district to see if we have viable finance that we can do the program. There's a possibility that the waiver won't be approved. They don't know how many waivers they're going to approve. We've been eligible in the past, but we've only been potentially eligible. Now the state legislature has changed. So any school that is within 30 to 62%, they are mandating that we go CEP, which is community eligibility provision. It's where all students would get free lunch and breakfast. But the only school that's eligible in our county is the elementary school right now.
And this would be an unfunded mandate?
Yes. We would still get federal reimbursement. Where we're only at 44.61%, you have to times that by 1.6, and that gives you your percentage rate of reimbursement for free, which ours would be 71.38, that would get state federal reimbursement for free, and then the paid part is the 28.12.
So that'd be our part, the 28.
Yes. So any difference between the free and the paid, it would be on the local school division to pay the difference to the school nutrition. It has to be out of a non-federal programs funding. So anything that we would still be able to get reimbursement for, but the difference between what we would have originally got as just the national school lunch, national school breakfast would be upon the school district.
This is big news. A lot of superintendents, we just got this information last week, and
The end of March.
so they're in the same boat. And like I said, it's an unfunded mandate. We'll know more about it.
There's a lot of positives to it, with the food insecurity now that's out there because of COVID. Those parents don't have to worry about trying to come up with money to feed their kids at school. So there's a lot of positives. We get more Title I funding as part of the program. But there's just a lot more coming on board in May. We won't know any for sure till May. So.
How much would the 28% be, our part, 28%?
It could be anywhere from $75,000 to $100,000.
Yeah. It just depends on the month. It depends on the month and the participation that month. I mean, we could be low participation, then there would be more money that is due to us. And then if we have a good month, you may not even have anything to pay.
Right.
And a
we
good
really
month is higher participation?
Yes. We don't have any numbers we can base it off of because this year we've opened it up to the county, which we feed county kids that's not in the school system,
Right.
whether they be under the age of school level kids or homeschooled, because we're feeding homeschool kids. We're feeding anybody in the county that's under 18.
Yeah.
Right.
So I can't base it off of those numbers
Yeah.
because they're astronomical.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot more.
Just this month, in March, we increased our feeding over 3,000 just
Really?
at the elementary. And it was 2,000 at the high school.
That
So-
many more meals?
Yes,
Wow.
whether it be delivery or in-school meals. We've had a lot more kids that's participating in school, especially at the high school. I've noticed a big increase there, which we didn't have before.
How many kids outside the school system, how many are taking advantage of this? That are not in the school
That's not
yet?
in the school,
Yeah, that's either homeschool or not of the age.
I would say at least 25%.
It's not, okay, cool, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we've
that's
had a lot
great.
of kids a lot of parents that's called and canceled because of the stimulus checks and
Right.
the EBT cards, because those EBT cards will go out through the end of June. So anybody that was eligible for free and reduced, not free universal,
Right.
like we are now, they had to have either be directly certified through the SNAP or TANF or the meal application.
Right, but that's it, like for the free universal that are outside the school, you're getting about 25%. Well, that's,
Yeah.
Thank you.
thank you, Ken.
Thanks, Kelly.
The only thing I have left on my comments is, as you can see throughout the building, it's brighter. We've had lights put in the past week or so. It's made things a lot brighter, especially out in the hallways. We finally recognize a lot of things we didn't see before. I mean, we're starting to see things we've never seen before, so. All right, I'll shut up and
Okay.
move
Don't
on.
give me any opportunity to comment.
Okay, we have 3 student representatives, which makes us very happy.
Yeah.
Who would like to speak?
They look very nice, I have to say.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Awesome. So I did get done with a presentation earlier today to the National Park Service through the National 4-H Conference. So forgive me if my voice is a little raspy from that presentation. But I do have a good list of just talking points to go over with y'all and just activities within the school. And then some type of little installation for these 2 new ones that I have with me today and for till their graduation.
If it helps in the
Hopefully.
talking, you can, if
Okay.
you want to, you can
Yeah.
remove them out.
All right,
yeah.
that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Awesome. So first things first, we got beta students. So we had 54 participants, and I believe 30 of those qualified for nationals. So nationals is planning a hybrid, whether you can pick to go in person or take the virtual route. The in-person option is located in Orlando, Florida, Disney World, and the arrangements that the national office has been taking has been tremendous, and we're thankful for that. Building point up to that, we were thinking about going with another school or just getting some ideas on how that's going to look for our students that want to compete on the national level. So the works are in that, but we're hoping to get the financial support if we do take a group as a whole down there to Florida.
What school are you looking? Are you already contacting schools? Or?
I got good friends and I guess beta members and officers that are in Ridgeview High School.
Okay.
So they're one of the other Southwest schools that participates at the state convention, and I think one of their officers actually became the beta vice president for the state. Her name is Lee McGowan. So we're proud of her, but just getting those arrangements out and seeing if we could get that in-person option possible would be a great opportunity. So I see you have your 4H mask on, and it's great to have that representation out in the community and, of course, on various levels. So there is an in-person summit coming up. So we're going to reach out to some 4-Hers to see if they would be interested in participating in the 4-H Teen Summit held at the Skelton 4-H Center. This summit is designed to tackle social issues just like LGBTQ rights, women's rights, people of color, racial injustice, and many more topics that we believe that the teens and the young adults' minds can help push a fuel for and help get that equity for all that we try to strive for. Virginia 4-H is still planning an in-person, a hybrid Congress where the 4-H centers, there will be 4 designated ones that will serve in-person options. But then we'll team up with hopefully Team Tri or some organization to get that virtual option as well for those that can make it. So it's kind of great to see that we may be seeing in-person availability in the future. And it's great because sometimes we can get a little zoom out. So FBLA State Conference, that is started actually yesterday. So they're using the app called WOVA to help with the sessions, some lounges, so that way FBLA students across the state can interact and still do their competitions virtually. So we're encouraging all FBLA students to participate in that. I'm not sure if you got the notification, but I have been in the process of finalizing and getting through those bylaws for the student representatives. So I sent you an invite to collaborate on the document. So I just sent it to your emails. So once that document is finished on my end, if you have any suggestions or feedback on the document, so that way we can get it adopted and have some guidelines, then we would love to include that for student representatives, knowing they can do this and voicing the students' opinions and also where they stand in terms of their position. And with that said, I'll have you two come around over here real quick. Don't be nervous, it's all right. Yeah, just move that chair. So I've written up something so that way we could just mimic a type of installation ceremony, knowing that these terms will start on July 1st, that's correct. We would just like to do it now so that way they know that they will be serving starting that date and just having that practice now up till then. So with that said, Paige Catherine Vire, could you please step forward? So the mission of the Blaine County Schools is to provide a safe and challenging environment where students will be given the opportunity to learn and acquire skills necessary for the responsible and productive life where developing an appreciation for their community. As Scott Mead has stated in his message in the public schools website, our school is to build a supportive and believes in building a future, one student at a time. The board believes engaging students to foster participation and success in academics and extracurricular activities. As student representative, you serve as an aspiration for the student body and all of their voices. Do you accept these responsibilities and aspires to bring the future opportunities and endeavors of Bland County School Boards? I do. All right. Anthony Remington Bright, step forward.
Remington.
It's the same spell, but I'm going to do it again. The mission of the Bland County School Boards is to provide a safe and challenging environment where students will be given the opportunity to learn and acquire skills necessary for a responsible and productive life, where developing an appreciation for their community. As Scott Mead has stated in his message on the public school website, quote, "Our school board is supportive and believes in a future, one student at a time. The board believes in engaging students to foster participation and success in academics and extracurricular activities," end quote. As student representative, you serve as an aspiration for the student body and all their voices. Do you accept these responsibilities and aspire to bring the future opportunities and endeavors of the Bland County Public Schools? With that said, these will be installed, and as a board, I would like you, maybe if you add it to the action agenda or something like that, to approve of these two young students to be on the school board, or however that progress would work in your eyes. So,
Thank you.
all righty. And if you have any questions for them regarding their goals for and possibly their plans, ask now.
You want the top 10 or the whole list? Which How's the year gone?
Great.
Has it?
Yeah.
It's a challenge, but
A lot of challenges, but I've got it.
It's definitely been like a learning experience for all of
Yeah.
us.
Definitely.
and what grades are you guys in?
I'm at 9.
Ninth?
I'm in 10.
Okay, so good.
So you got
Hopefully
several years
next
to
year
spend
will
with us,
be
huh?
better, and the next year better, and so yeah. Yeah.
We
Thank you
really
guys, appreciate you.
Appreciate you all
Thank you.
spending
We
your
look forward
time
to you
do
being here.
this,
Yep,
and
sure do.
Thank you.
You got big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
He's done an excellent job.
Why, thank you. I appreciate that. Just a couple more things. As you talked about football earlier, I would like to give a little shout out for Kendrick Moorhead, Corey Harden, and Blake Buchanan. As these are seniors on the football team, I believe that their work this year should be recognized, and as they are setting the stepping stones for those in the future. So we appreciate having them and contributing to the future team. You talked about the dental program at the elementary school, and I would like to recognize Lindsay Waters of taking on the opportunity of spreading her knowledge through Virginia 4-H. So she'll be doing some type of takeover and sessions, so that way she spreads more about dental hygiene and what initiatives she plans to take through that. We thank the parents for the Adopt a Senior project. That was amazing. All the pictures that we got just to give a little something back to the seniors was absolutely terrific. And I cannot thank, on behalf of the seniors, I cannot thank the parents and everyone that contributed enough. So thank you for that. Last item, I'm going to try to pronounce this correctly or just spell it out, the GLSEN project. This is something I was looking into in hopes of bringing more inclusivity for the school and possibly in the classrooms as well. So this program actually develops safe space options. So what that is, if a teacher has that type of sticker on their door or they mention about it in their classroom, they're basically saying that, hey, if you have anything in relations to the LGBTQ, racial injustice, social issues, we're willing to hear your voice. So I believe that having those signs and that kind of environment for our school would be something to not only tackle maybe potential bullying and harassment potentials in the future, but also it just brings the environment more lively, and we get to see a more bondage between teachers and students as well. So if you have any questions for me.
No.
Well, thank you so much, and if you have anything else, just let me know.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Charlie.
Okay, school board, Philip?
I want to say thank you to all of our first responders, everybody that's helped us today as well as last week. It continues to point to me how integral our schools are in our community, not just as buildings, but also as a network of not just educational institution, but also with that, just the connection to the community. I know that we've done a lot as a school board this year thus far, but I know we've got much that is in front of us. So I say thank you to, like I said, our first responders and everybody's involved today, and I'm glad it was a great success. So once again, hats off to you, Mr. Grimm, and your team there at the elementary school, and Mr. Mead, and everybody was involved.
Sharon?
I just want to reiterate what the With Bland Chamber of Commerce did for all of their teachers and people in our school system. It is an honor to be associated with all of them, and they do a wonderful job, and I could never, ever explain how much, I don't know, admiration, I guess, is one of the words to use for all of the teachers and everybody in our school system, because we're really blessed to have the people that we do, and I appreciate it. And you guys are wonderfully dressed this afternoon. I really appreciate it, and it's nice to see that in young people, and I'm glad that we have that in Blaine County.
Dwayne?
Just want to piggyback a little bit off of what Philip said, and appreciate Mr. Grimm and then the first responders, and you know, the facilities here are part of the county, you know, and it's you know, with just going back to what happened at the nursing home, and you know, how vital these buildings are for instances like that, and you know, hopefully, you know, we can piggyback off that, people seeing the importance of it, and we can move forward with, if not large improvements, maybe possibly new buildings in the future, whatever happens on the state level and stuff, if the support ever comes. So just as a, you know, just as a reminder to everybody just how vital these facilities are. We want to make sure they're kept up tip-top shape, and that they are utilized, everything from little leagues, the fields, the gyms, everything. It's a vital part of the community, so appreciate everything that Mr. Mead did, and Mr. Grimm and everybody else.
Okay, this is my second term on the school board, and it will be ending at the end of this year. And I've been very honored to work with everybody in this organization. Really impressed with everybody and what all has been accomplished. I want to make a statement, though, that I will not be running for a third term. And I'm stating that now because we need to get out and make sure we have some good candidates to continue to have a very strong board here. So if you know somebody that you think would be good in this role, please let them know. And we need a strong school board. These are personal decisions for me, which I'm not in a position to discuss. But like I said, I've been honored to be on the board, and look forward to filling this role till the end of the year.
We appreciate all your efforts and all you've done. So.
Thank you.
Can I add to that too? That this is my first undertaking, I guess, of this, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it, but I will not be running for a second term either, but I really appreciate you all letting me be part of this. And it's been a learning experience, believe me. But I worked on the other side of the school system for 40 years, so this has been a learning experience, but I want to go back to working with the kids in school
Me and
because I
Philip's gonna-
love them.
Sorry. Me and Philip's gonna ask you guys to do some recruiting then, so.
Okay, moving into the action agenda. Do we want to go ahead and make an amendment to the agenda to approve the student reps as we start this?
It's down number
Yeah.
H.
Yeah.
H.
Okay, it says Constitution, so we'll do that as part of H, okay.
Yep.
You're way ahead of us, as usual, Charlie. Okay, approve payments. Any questions on the payments? If not, I need a motion to approve.
No question. I'll make a motion to approve payments.
Second.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Mr. Butcher?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
For
Mr. Shepard?
4. O&M projects, we have let contracts for the electrical system upgrade at the elementary school and the heating and cooling upgrade at the elementary school. We've had 2 technical meetings on that. One included identifying when they could have access to the building, and appreciate all the work that's being done to open up the elementary school for the summer. We have run into a little bit of an electrical issue, and they're supposed to be getting back to me on some equipment, possible equipment changes on the electrical side. When they did the final rundown with all the resistance heat that has to be added, it exceeded the incoming switchgear that we had planned. So I'm waiting to get an update on that, and I'll let you know as soon as I do. The other project that's listed here, 2021-3, is to fix the area in front of the elementary school and the crosswalks. And, you know, if you picture that, there's a gravel area between the road and the elementary school. And it's to clean that up, pave it, take care of the drainage, and upgrade the crosswalks. My suggestion would be tonight to table that. We have some other things we're waiting for invoices on, and we're trying to see just where they lay before we do this. I think the bid on this came in at $25,000.
Yeah.
We had one bid.
Only had one bid, so if that's okay with you, we'll table that for this meeting.
I think it'd be best in the future if we could have multiple bids, particularly on these types of projects, and that way to make sure our community knows that we're spending their money wisely. One quick question, there's a project ongoing at the elementary school. I know it's in progress. Do we have a completion date upon that?
On the
road.
The auxiliary building outside?
It should be. You know, we approved new roofs back months ago, and the weather this winter's been so bad. They should have the new roof on. They may have got it on finished today on what's going to be the pre-K building, and then they're going to move over and do the roof on the ag building, these were approved, like I say, months ago, but they haven't been able to do them. The building is getting very close.
I noticed I saw a lot of, looked like they were getting ready to put that siding on the outside, but I
Right.
wasn't sure what the inside looked like.
The inside, other than the restrooms is done. They've got to do some concrete work on the access to the building, and I haven't seen a schedule on that, but it definitely needs to be finished in this year, this fiscal year for the school system.
Yes.
Finished and paid for.
Yes.
We're on the same page on that.
Yes.
Okay, item C, the Narcan prescription and having that in the school. Who would like to speak to that? Mike, you or?
I think we already had some that had just expired, correctly? Correct? We already had, didn't we have Narcan already and it had expired, what we had?
I don't think so.
I don't think we did.
I thought I got an email from somebody that was asking me about, I'll have to go back.
This
and
was a
look.
request by Kathy Muncy, I think.
She headed it up, the elementary school, high school does, is my understanding.
Okay, this is,
There were some training pieces that I believe that she wanted to make sure that you were understanding.
okay, maybe this was
what the
more
requirements
elementary.
For housing that within the school grounds were.
Yeah, because it's
Dwayne, would you
controlled.
explain what this is so that?
So Narcan is for, to treat an overdose, basically. And it's a controlled substance, so it has to be under lock and key and have some responsibilities for it, so. You have to have a prescription. I'm not sure how, I guess it would have to be kept by Kathy, I would think, because she's an RN, correct?
I would
But
think
she's,
so.
but she's
You might have
at the
to
elementary
mail.
school.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure about, who would, how you would have it at the high school and who would be responsible for it.
I think-
Because you have to have a,
Yeah, I think we need some more information on this in order to,
Yeah, why don't we request that a policy be written or a procedure,
Well,
whichever one you want
You
to
might
call
want to
it.
have Kathy come and speak.
yeah.
yeah.
Right.
And that's, probably should have done that tonight, but, basically, like Dwayne said, this is something that combats someone that overdoses.
Yeah.
And if you have it on hand, you might save a life. That's what
Yeah.
it gets
And
down
it
to.
works, I mean, when it works, it works. I mean, it's, so,
Right, I mean, we're not against it, we just want to make sure that everything is identified and controlled in it, so.
We need the policy
Uh,
there.
So if we want to table that for one meeting, and could you talk to Ms. Muncy and tell her we'd like, basically what we'd like to do is approve a policy. This is where it's going to be kept, this is who has access to it, this is, the procedure if someone feels it needs to be used and all of that.
so we don't currently have it on hand, right? We didn't.
I don't think so.
Did we have it at the high
She
school?
explained to me the previous doses had expired.
That's what, okay, so someone had reached,
Provided free of charge by
Right.
entities within the state agencies.
generally, yeah, that's what happens. So it's kind of like the EpiPens, but I guess we probably pay for EpiPens.
So you think she's just asking to update things we currently have?
Yeah, she has access to policy that we can adopt, so I'll ask her if she
Yeah.
can come to the next board meeting or whenever, probably get that to you much sooner than that.
Because somebody had reached out to me about where to obtain it, and I was like, you have to have a doctor.
Yeah, we're going to have a,
We had it and it expired, so.
yeah, we're going to be identifying another meeting date. If she would like to do it at the earlier meeting and not wait till the next board meeting. that
I'm
would be
sure
fine.
she'd love every opportunity.
Okay, so we'll table that one also. Okay, we have in this year's budget the purchase of a bus. I think there's $90,000 budgeted for that. That's in the year-end estimate that I said, where we would be spending 99.9% of the money. In one way, because it is a part of the budget that was approved, it doesn't have to be approved, but we generally have done that on any purchase this large. So my recommendation is, since we had to pull the bus out of next year's budget, and we're getting to the end of the year and we need to make sure it comes in this year's funding, my recommendation is that we make a motion and have Mr. Mead and Mike start getting this rolling to purchase a bus.
Yeah, we're not gonna, are we gonna approve the purchase, or are we, because we need to know the price before we can actually approve it, so.
The last time we bought one was $92,000.
I say we
Not-
go ahead and get the price, and then as soon as we get the price and know the availability, because that's the other thing too, is if,
Well, let me tell you, we need to move on fast because these buses are selling fast.
Yeah,
well, that's what I was trying to get at, is if they're not in stock and say they have to be made and it's not gonna be delivered till June, and we're not gonna get the invoice, August, and we're not gonna get the invoice till
How about we
August.
make a motion that if we can get delivery in this fiscal year and
not to exceed 95.
not to exceed $95,000, that we
Yeah,
go
that would
ahead.
work fine.
Good.
Yeah, I'll make a motion. I'll make the motion to approve the purchase of the bus as long as we can get it in this year and then not to exceed 95,000.
Second.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Mr. Petrie?
4.
Ms. Puckett? 4. Mr. Shepherd?
And if it runs into something and it's more than that, if we have to, we can do a quick phone poll to give you the approval to if it's 96 or something, to we can do a quick phone poll to give you approval, so you can let them know that we are gonna purchase it, so then get started on it if time
Yeah, one of the
is.
key things is availability.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
that's the big thing.
Okay,
Last on the buses, sorry. Mike hadn't been here in a while, so, can we get an update on what our bus situation is, how old they are, and mileage, and, where we're at with them?
Sure.
The next time we have a meeting or something?
okay, COVID-19 in-person learning schedule. Anything you want to add to that, Mr. Mead?
Nothing more than I think we need to finish the same schedule we're on for the rest of the school year. Then we start planning on next school year, which the state is telling us it'll be 5 days a week, 999 clock hours, 180 days. So I think our teachers need that extra time right now. I think principals have told you they would like to see us stay the same as we are right now until the end of the school year.
And everything has been identified as far as the last day of classes and first day of summer school and all that, right? I think that was identified at the last meeting, wasn't it?
I think so. Summer school starts, I don't have that right in my hand, June the 10th.
30th.
It runs 3 consecutive weeks, so
5 days a week in person.
5 days a week.
I think what our last day of school was supposed to be June the 3rd or 4th.
We're gonna stick with June 3rd or whatever you have as the last day of school, because they need that week, the teachers do,
Clean up.
to get everything finalized. Then we start up with summer school, that 10th, I think, is the date for that.
Are the teachers gonna have enough time to get their report cards and then get it done before summer school?
Well, here's the issue, and this is just me. I don't feel like we need to carry summer school into July. I think that will be a big bust.
No, we
Because
can.
if you go in that first week of July, this is July the 4th weekend, we need to get summer school up and going by June 10th.
Right. So is there a possibility we don't have to make up days till the 4th, or?
There's some waiver in there.
Yeah, you don't have to do those makeup days. There's a waiver for that now due to the pandemic, but
So we are
So
going to
we
make
could
those
get out.
days up then?
we don't have to make them up, is what I'm saying.
So when could we get out? 28?
And I'll double check
Do
on
we
that
need to do
because,
that?
well, he has construction starting, what, June 3rd? June 2nd.
Well, maybe if we did make the 28th out instead of,
Because
That would give them
graduation is the
time.
29th, is it
Well,
not?
let's
Graduation
check on
is the
that tomorrow
29th.
before we go into any more further conversation on that. So there seems to be confusion. I thought we had that settled, but
Yeah, the two, so we need a calendar made up and sent out. You'll take care of that, Mr. Mead. Okay, special ed annual plan. I think that was one of your action items, Ms. Radford.
You have in your packet the annual plan for special education for next school year. There was not a lot of changes to the plan, or really any changes to the plan from last year. Let me get the right one out. So if you take a look at the plan, I guess basically the main thing
excuse me.
on page 12, this is a breakdown of our budget. 40% of my salary will be from SPED, 25% of Kelly's, and then the rest is for the 8 paras that we have in the schools. So there's a breakdown there on page 12 and 13 for you of proposed budget.
How's the funding compared to last year or our current year?
The funding was not, there wasn't a lot of difference. I don't have last year's number with me. But there wasn't a lot. It was a little less, I want to say, this year. I don't have the exact numbers. It was a little less because of that. My salary was 70% from SPED. said, and we had to drop that to 40 to make up for the differences with the increase in salaries for this coming year. So that's why that's really the only difference,
Okay.
is the percentage of salaries. And then the back part of it, preschool is in there, that's on page 15 and 16. And of course, her salary, 20% of her salary, pretty much everything we get for preschool goes to her salary.
Right.
So that did not change.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we need a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the special education annual plan.
Second.
Mr. Bantry?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
4. Okay, the Perkins annual plan.
Yes, that's the CTE Perkins Fund, the budget for CTE, and, let me go through this real quick. Page 29, if you wanna look there, that gives you, our advisory committee, who the participants are. Those basically stayed the same from last year. What changed was the parent and student. The parent and student from this year, he is graduating. So Laura Hall will be the parent and student rep for the advisory committee. Page 30 just lists the plans of studies that we are offering in our CTE program at the high school. And then the other plans, the rest is basically 35, 36, 37, 38. All those is just a summary of our programs. If you turn to,
63 maybe?
I should have marked my pages, sorry. The back part is our budget plan and the breakdown of our monies, how we are spending it, and that's on page 57. Is where it begins. The different categories that we can spend the money in, and this is how it's broken down, how we are using those funds. What we're spending on purchase services, internal services, indirect costs. So that's all of that.
Okay.
Okay?
Just for those of you sitting in the room, we get our funds from somewhere mid-20 different sources. And each source has their own requirements, their own paperwork, their own what they'll pay for, what they won't pay for. So
And their annual report.
in their annual report. So budgeting in the school system is pretty tough because I'll pay for this, but I won't pay for that. And it comes out of this bucket, and that bucket will pay for this, but won't pay for that, these 3 other things. So,
what they will approve and what they won't approve.
right. So it,
We have to do the same amount of reporting as any large school system. where
Right.
They have,
Absolutely.
they have a much larger staff,
if we had 10,000 students and,
billion.
25 people in this office, they would be getting the same report, so.
Yeah.
So we appreciate the hard work everybody does on these. We need a motion to approve that if we could.
Make a motion.
Yeah, go ahead.
Make a motion to approve the Perkins annual plan.
I'll second.
Mr.
Real
Bantry?
quick, before you go on, I had a thought about Lucid. When we did our conference call or Zoom, Nate told us that, help me with the percentages, 100% of Fortune 500 companies
uses
are
Lucid.
using the business side of Lucid, and 90-some% of Fortune 100 companies are using it. And so we thought that was another plus for getting this, because it does give our students the opportunity to learn about it before they go into perhaps a business career.
Right.
So I thought of that. The other thing I wanted to share with you, and I don't know if you'll be interested or not, but I just learned a few minutes ago that Tazewell County is getting ready to purchase an electric bus, an all-electric bus, and they will have it on display this week If anybody's interested in going and taking a look at it.
It'd be interesting how it manages the hills in
Adams
Chapel
Valley, it'll be going to Adams Valley.
and
But see, that was the.
goes over toward
that-
Bishop.
That was the rub with the propane bus.
Yeah,
They called it the flat level bus.
Yeah.
It was good, but when it got to hills, it wasn't. So let them try that, okay?
earlier.
how quick do we need that?
Well, he wants it today, but. Let's see.
Yeah, we'll have to have it before the first week in May.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
How
got-
about the 20th of April?
next Tuesday?
Yeah.
What time?
Whatever you want.
May need a little later. We're supposed to go to Roanoke for a doctor's appointment.
Oh, it'd be later in the day.
Later in the day, like, I don't know how long that may take, so I don't know if I can make it back by 5, so if we could say 6 would be preferable.
6 o'clock.
Mhm.
I'm good
So
with that unless you want to move it to Thursday and try to go earlier in the day, or do you prefer?
I've
that?
got with Bland
Okay.
Foundation meeting on Thursday.
What about Monday?
I can do Monday.
The 19th?
Yeah,
Yeah, we could do that.
I think I'm good Monday.
What time?
5 o'clock.
Yep.
Okay.
So we're good for you, Mr. Mead?
Yeah, fine, I'm fine through April.
Give me a call, Angie, and make sure it's okay.
The only time I'm bad is, the, weekend of the 7th in May is when, Mackenzie graduates from law school, so we'll be going, trekking down to Alabama.
All right.
Okay. Need a motion on this?
Make a motion for a budget meeting on April the 19th at 5 p.m.
Second.
Mr. Petrie,
for
Ms. Puckett, 4. Mr. Bailey,
4, send me a reminder.
Mr. Shepherd.
4. Okay, personnel recommendations, Mr. Mead?
You want me to go over these individually or all at one?
I guess do the coaches separate.
Okay. I recommend that we appoint Tyler Estep, the principal at the high school for the 2021-2022 school year.
Can I have a motion for that?
I'll make that motion.
Oh, man. I'll second.
Ms. Puckett,
4.
Mr. Bailey,
4.
Mr. Petrie,
4.
Mr. Shepherd.
Congratulations.
Yep, congratulations.
Okay, we've got the coaches this year. I'll just read those out all at one time. For baseball, I recommend Chris Jackson. For softball varsity, I recommend John Bright. And middle school, Rick Worley. Middle school baseball, Reggie Meadows. Soccer, Tony Malamachi. And track, Laura Morgan.
Do Italians know anything about soccer?
A little bit.
Just a little bit. I just want to make
A
sure.
little bit, yeah.
I know he can dribble one, but can he kick one?
Maggie, would you like to answer that question?
I'll make a motion. Oh, yeah. I'll make a motion to
Almost
accept
that,
it.
wasn't
Yeah. I'll make a motion to accept.
Second.
Mr. Bailey,
4.
Ms. Puckett, 4. Mr. Petrie,
4.
Mr. Shepherd.
4. Okay, we appreciate everybody. If we have nothing else, need a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Hang on, wait. We cannot adjourn. We have one more item on our action agenda, and that was
Oh, yeah,
item
that's
K.
right. God,
That's right,
I
Di.
butt slipped up, yeah.
Yeah.
What I said.
Item K,
Thank you.
thank you. I
Yeah.
actually had it written down.
I had it
I
covered
know,
up
I had it
and,
written down,
pulled the
circled.
paper apart.
I was excited to get out.
Dr. Workman asked if we could work together with the county on any construction type projects. And we would like to ask if we could all work together on upgrading the lighting in all of the school buildings and county buildings and going to LED lighting. It would be substantial savings in energy costs and improved lighting as we've seen in here. You can see these are LEDs. those are the old, I think,
Yeah, and you can look on the wall and you can see the difference in
right,
how
and
bright
or on
each side of
even
the
the
wall
floor.
is.
This carpet's blue, that carpet's.
Yeah, it's yellowish.
Somebody cleaned the carpet, I'm not sure how I did that, but, so, Mr. Mead, if you could, talk with Dr. Workman and see if there's any way we could, work together and do a project to upgrade the lighting in all the school buildings.
Okay, I will do that.
And we need a
And-
motion for that, or
Yeah, let's do that as a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
I should let you.
Mr. Bailey?
Four.
Mr. Petrie?
Forward.
Ms.
You
Puckett?
remember.
Mr. Shepherd?
For.
Y'all remember.
Okay, have I missed anything else?
Yeah, we haven't recognized there's a new butchery in the neighborhood
A new
now.
butchery.
That's right. I didn't say
Right.
anything.
So
Man.
this is a time for you to introduce the new.
We're so excited to welcome Mr. Jacob Andrew to the community. So
Okay.
he's getting a good start. Mama's treating him well, and he's taking off, getting a little bit of sleep. So we're excited. Excited to add him to the school system here in a few years. Got to get him started. I want to encourage everybody else to add to the school system in a few years too.
My days are done.
Yep.
Keep on adding. And think about building a house too while you're at it.
Okay, I don't think I can top that, so let's, if I could get a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Mr. Petrie?
4.
Ms. Puckett? Mr. Bailey?
Four.
Mr. Shepherd?
Thank you, everyone.
Mr.
Thanks,
Mayor.
everybody.